Yo, welcome to the 40th episode of season 2 of Black Ibis Social Club. Bliat! What are you doing, Fisto?
Hey, man.
I just popped a squat here in the corner of my Soviet block, cracked open a Red Bull, and popped in 3 lip pillows, so I am good to
Here we
end
go.
this season. The chill is in the air, man. It was
man.
34 degrees last night in South Carolina. I feel like I'm Siberia. It's
right.
cold. All right,
Man, I'm loving all the crying at school. I'm loving all the crying at school. Everybody's they got blankets, they got jackets, they got like, warm pants and gloves, and I'm out there wearing the same shit I wear every day. Fuck it. It's fantastic. Ohio Maxine, you weaklings.
fuck Alex Kashuta.
Yeah, exactly. That was
Fuck
funny.
ass. Fuck off out of here. I hate that bitch.
Yeah, fucking
Move
trash.
to England and fucking the right wing was mean to me.
Fuck
I
off.
don't think I'm
Whatever.
allowed to marry her because as an Orthodox Christian, I can't marry Jews. Fuck you, Alex Kashuta.
You can't marry trash.
Yeah.
You'll marry
Anyways,
trash.
that's all I have to say about that. And now we'll move on to the real topic. You do develop slant eyes. That's why you become like an Eskimo and shit, because you got a built-in sunglasses. My dog has that. My dog looks at me and she's got her sunglasses on, and she's like, "Ooh, I can't see because the sun's too bright." Anyways, how's your week, man? I'm already amped up. I got a lot of energy tonight. What have you been up to?
Man, work's been kicking my ass in a good way. I got lots to share on that front, which has been pretty interesting. We got one more week until Thanksgiving break, which is going to be really great. So I actually can relax and take a minute, maybe do some things, get some projects done that I've been looking to do. But yeah, no. One of the interesting things, so like one of the things I do in class to try and make it really super interesting for people is as we go through topics and as we discuss things, I often try to bring up conversation that is, the discourse, discuss current events, discuss things out there in the world. But of course, it's not just, it's not shit I saw on CNN or some other, flaming pile of trash. It's all the beautiful things I see on Substack. So I bring that into the classroom and talk to people. Last week I did, so I've been doing a unit on 9/11. It's kind of like a palate cleanser for the kids, for the students, because we need to circle back and work on this test thing that we got to do. But I'm using it to kind of like get back to the basics. Listen to the lecture, take your notes, do the reading, get your work done. Like just hitting the basics. And I've been trying to give them a lot of context because if a lot of people don't know, public education in the United States sucks a big fat bag of dicks. And part of the reason why is because we live in a machine and they are not actually interested in creating people. They are interested in creating AI prompt machines or AI slop thralls. So your intrepid Fisto, for example, heard the best thing ever in class today, where a student went, "Man, this is the only class I don't need my Chromebook." Hell yeah, brother. That's
awesome, dude. Like that's actually a compliment, right?
It was awesome.
That is a compliment.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. And then this week I had another kid who's like, I was talking about manufacturing consent. No, not manufacturing consent. Understanding Media by Marshall McLuhan. Nice. And one of my kids was like, "Hey, you should teach that whole book. That should be our textbook next semester." And I was like, "You son of a bitch. I am crazy enough to try
it." Just that. It's like, listen, guys, I would do that, but then you will not enjoy anything in life. You don't understand that with this much knowledge, there comes a sadness because everything annoys you. Because once you can see,
you can see the outlines of the retard, then everything becomes retard.
Yeah, like when like it's actually very funny because my wife was asking me about this book. She's like, "Oh, she's over at she went on a hike today and went to like Books a Million, and she asked me like, oh, I was looking at this book, and I'm not gonna say what book it is, right? Because it's gonna be annoying. But and she's like, it looked pretty good. Have you heard about it? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, what do you think about it? I'm like, well,
Uh-oh.
3 years ago, you'd probably like it, but now you'd probably feel how I feel about it. And it's got chock full of pre vibe change kind of politics and cheesiness built into it,
No.
cringe
What
shit.
book is it? What
It's
book's it?
like it's like some medieval fantasy book, but the
Is it
guy
a,
that the author, I forgot his name.
listener? Is it a
Huh?
listener? Is that the problem? Is it a listener? Is that why you're hesitant?
No. I just can't even remember his name. It's
I just
just
can't remember
like it's just like shit lib
that.
cuck basically that like
Oh, the worst.
he
But you
like
repeat yourself,
wrote this
sir.
horror novel I read once, and it was like, imagine like a horror novel about the South written by like a fucking Portland barista,
Oh no.
that's never been to the
Uh,
South, and it's like every stereotype, and then
uh,
like the main character basically lets his wife become the he basically gets cucked by werewolves, but it's okay because they're black slave werewolves. So
yeah,
like it's
no,
like
look, I don't want to read books by people that have nothing better to offer the world than being a D tier OnlyFans model.
yeah,
All right. I don't want anything to do with
the
that.
dude looks like I don't know what he looks like, but I can just imagine that like there's a lot of
Oh yeah.
actuallys going on. He looks like
Oh
probably
no.
like the female version of that, the male version of that the interviewer that interviewed Sydney Sweeney. I don't know if you saw
Oh
that Sydney
geez, yeah.
Sweeney thing.
That was so. I didn't see the actual interview because I don't care about that shit.
I mean,
But
I
I
just
did
saw
see,
clips of it.
yeah, but I did see the discourse, and it was very, very funny. And
Yeah.
once I learned what it was all about, I was like, that's amazing. That's just fantastic. Like,
Well,
shut
it
up,
used to be
retard
like
coming back, man.
I was
Shut up,
like I was
retard's
like
coming back.
yeah, that was like Sydney Sweeney's face was like shut up retard in like a
Yeah.
face,
Oh yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
It's
very beautiful.
I fully believe it's a matter of time before Vice President JD Vance just hits somebody with the shut up retard, and it's gonna
Yeah.
be like a world leader. It's gonna be like somebody of like, like one of these French guys, or like freaking Keir Starmer or something. He's just gonna slap him with a shut up retard.
Yeah, dude,
And it's
it's
just gonna be
funny.
done.
I used to kind of like even like a week and a half ago, I was like, Sydney Sweeney. Well, this is a Sydney Sweeney appreciation podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I really liked her a lot in the first season of Magnolia. And then Magnolia, what the fuck is it? What is it? White Lotus. And it was great. She's great in that. And I liked her in most of the stuff I've seen her in. And I was like, she's kind of a pick me, she's kind of a pick me, a little bit too much of a try hard. But now I'm like, yeah, okay, she won me over 100%. I'm in the
100%.
Sydney Sweeney is great.
When it comes to the eternal question of Judy or Pan Am, it's now a trick question. The answer is Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go Sydney Sweeney on that one. She won me over. But can you imagine being that journalist? Like I don't even know her name. Can you imagine like literally your fart face is being clowned on by the entire internet? Like, you went in there all smug. It's like it's so funny because these journalists and these guys, it's like their operating system. It's like their whole way of thinking and their way of interacting with the world is so dated, yet it was like normal like a year and a half ago, and yet it feels so dated. They feel like absolute like geezers, you know what I mean? Like you look at these guys and their like thoughts and their opinions are so like just out of touch with like young people, old people, anybody, like have you ever, you don't have an Instagram, do you?
No, of course not.
No.
Absolutely not.
Somehow, I don't know how the hell this happened. Instagram has become the most based of the social medias. All right.
Really?
Some of the there's like straight up like just Hitler memes on Instagram. All right. Like it's just like the stuff on Instagram. Like, okay, This is the stuff on Instagram. Like Instagram, there's posts that would get you banned off of current day Musk Twitter, right?
Huh.
Well, maybe because Musk is a Hindu appreciator, so his team of curry coders is going to ban you, but
Oh, wow.
but the stuff on Instagram, I don't know what like ayahuasca, like what's his name from Facebook did, and it burned his brain because that dude he just gave up on moderation. Like you spend like 10 minutes like streaming like Instagram, you're like, what the hell? Like, wow, this is
Just
like
huh.
entertaining.
So maybe I'll grab me. Yeah. No,
You,
actually,
yeah,
no.
you
I'm not
need to
gonna
hop
grab
now.
you.
You need to hop on Instagram. It's actually pretty
Do I?
funny.
Really?
It's like it's like it's the only social media I actually use. I actually been using it more than Substack. I mean, Substack is not really social media. It's more for like long form kind of like listening.
Yeah, of course. Would it, if I got on Instagram, would it lead to an increased block count on Substack?
Not really, because like Instagram is just
Yeah,
mostly like pictures and like
oh,
I don't even post on it. I'm
yeah.
joking.
I mean, maybe check it
Joking
out.
a
Yeah,
little
just
bit.
like for content, and then I can cross post
Yeah.
onto Substack.
I,
But at the end of the day, man, it's all about that block count. You know me. It's
yeah.
all about that.
We'll
It's all
get
about that
to that in a
charisma.
second. We'll get to that in a
Yeah,
second.
man, I got the final number.
Read
I got
over
the
some
final
stats.
number. Can't wait.
Yeah. Besides like catching up on the interview, I haven't really caught up much on the news. This is like really my third or fourth week when I've been avoiding the machine, man. I've been just avoiding the internet. I did see that like, the big whoop-de-doo is that like now there's 50-year mortgages. Thank you, Republicans. That's exactly next year I'll be 100-year mortgages. And then we can just pretend that we actually own houses completely, We'll just I'll just forward my money straight to the bank forever. We'll just be indentured servants. I guess it's like I guess it's just like we're into medieval corporatism right now is what we're living in, right? Like I guess everybody wanted the monarchy, right? But what, fuck you guys, fuck everybody, fucking 50-year mortgages, man. Come on, man. Like thanks for all that great stuff, guys. But I think nothing else exciting is going on. There's everybody loves that Frankenstein movie Lisa was talking about. Seems that's the key. I might get around to seeing a movie in the theaters if I can ever get a babysitter. Oh, on the topic of babysitters, my internet might stutter a bit because my daughter's downstairs slaying bodies, stacking bodies on the finals. I don't know if you ever heard of that game. She's playing that a lot. She just I walked downstairs and she's shotgunning dudes in the face, running around, setting people on fire. And it's pretty fun game. It's a little battle arena game, Yeah, no, Kevin, sorry about that. Your people's main occupation, drinking and indentured servitude. And church going, right?
And leaving on a boat.
And leaving on a boat, yeah. But besides that, I've been playing a lot of Arc Raiders. I even played Arc Raiders with a guest on the podcast, Isaiah.
What?
Him and I were slaying bodies, stacking them the other night.
How'd that go?
At 1 a.m. Good, man. Guy's good. He's good. He came in there. I used a light machine gun. My friend Danica was fucking. And this girl's a beast, right? Stacking bodies left and right. Clearing rooms. Get some loot. Found some metal scraps. All the fun loot in the post-apocalyptic world where Apple computers take over the world. That game is great, man. Like it's crazy because I was playing the beta and I read about the game a long time ago, and now it's like one of the top selling games of all time, and it's got like 700,000 consecutive players at the same time. So it seems like everybody's talking about it, and it's awesome. Wow. It's great. You should hop on. Isaiah said you should hop on.
Yeah. I mean, once I got some cash and I got some free time, maybe over like Thanksgiving or Christmas, I might pop on there. I know we were joking about it in chat, but like Isaiah and I go way back.
Yeah, I know.
When it comes to gaming, yeah, and him and I had a period of time where we became kind of minor arch villains in the computer game. And if I were to get back into a game like Ark, let's just say my block count would go even higher.
Now you gotta be nice, man. So you're playing the game. They're playing the game. People go like, don't shoot. And my rule is if you're if you have a certain kind of voice or you don't have a mic, I shoot you. That's just kind of my rule,
Oh no.
Like,
Yeah, see, Alex, you bring me in there, I'm going to be actively hunting human players. That is the
well, that's
only
what
thing
you
I'm going
do.
to do.
You need to steal their
No,
shit, right?
oh yeah, I don't care who they are, what they are, anything, like whatever you guys say, they will be in danger. And I will simply be waiting for the moment when I put two in the back of their brain. I just want you to know that. Like that's just how I am. It's just kill. It's just kill. So if I get on there, that'd be fun. I mean, it'd be great, but kill.
You gotta come join us, man. We're
Blood for the blood god. All right.
playing a
I'm
lot.
sorry. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Gank for the gank god.
So today is a monumentous occasion. It is our 40th episode of season 2.
Oh yeah, that's right.
All right.
Yeah, 40th episode.
So we started, this podcast 2 years ago now. So we've completed 2 years.
Really been 2 years?
Yeah, it's been 2 years, man.
Man.
Oh, actually, I take it back. It's been like a year and a half because I believe I started around May of 2 years ago. It's been the first season was kind of short. We kind of retooled things, but this is the first full year like that of a season 2, basically first full season. And I was doing 40 episodes. I was doing a count, and this year alone, for free, for your guys' entertainment, out of pure love, we have recorded almost 160 hours.
Dang.
Right. So if you subscribe, you can just look on the Black Ibis Substack or on Spotify or Apple iTunes or whatever, and you can actually listen to over 150 hours worth of conversations with guests and with not guests. And I'm looking back, and it was a good year. All right. So I'm looking back at the first episode of season 2. We had Lisa on. It was called the Sad Boy Party.
Yep.
And I'm actually pretty happy because that's the one where we used the graphic from Tombstone, and I thought it was pretty funny. But and then we had a guest afterwards. We had some banger guests at the beginning of the year last year. We had Brad Kelly from The Art of Darkness and his own podcast now. Brad Kelly was awesome, and got to have him back. We had Librarian of Solano next.
Mm-hmm.
He's been on fire on Twitter. I don't know if he's been following him on there. No. Uncouth Barbarian. We had Kevin Kautzman, which is the other half of the Art of Darkness crew. The OG Art of Darkness crew. We had Isaiah, and we talked about the Orthodox movie, The Island. Lisa again. We had Copernican. We had Noah Reimer, Jasper, when he revealed that fantastic shinickery, that deception, that poetry fraud that he perpetuated on the wokest of poetic journals, which was fantastic.
How's he doing, by the way? I haven't seen him on Substack all that much.
He's been getting hate left and right, like usual.
Good.
I think somebody rejected his book once they found out who he was and that type of shit.
Good man.
So I know that I saw that happening. We had in April, we had Konstantin von Hofmeister, always fantastic. Josh Tatter, funny enough, Josh Tatter, writes fantasy. We talked a lot about fantasy on there. And he's a local guy. He actually lives one town over from where I live, and I actually haven't got a chance to meet him. We had Autumn Christian, talked about her books and stuff. We had John Carter, Brothers Crin, Uncouth Barbarian, William Hunter Duncan. We talked about American paganism and young men and stuff. We had Dr. Zachary Porku. God, that was in June. Man, it feels like it was yesterday that we had Dr. Zachary Porku on there. But that was in June. Man, we did a lot of episodes. Jason McGinty. I think that was one of the peak episodes of the season, right? For you guys. Jason, I think he's in the chat. Maybe he's usually in the chat, or he gets on a little bit later. Jason, we talked about his podcast and talked about Bleeding Kansas, and that's something I didn't know anything about. That was a great educational episode for me because I was I don't know anything. We did a bunch of stuff on. We did a bunch of stuff on paganism. Yeah, that was around the great pagan debates, right? And we talked about we did the Great Beauty episode. We did Under the Silver Lake episode. We had Jack, who wrote The Tower, and that trippy ass book he wrote. Mark
Mm,
McGrath about the
it was
OODA
a fun
loop.
time.
We
Yep.
had Karis. Karis was great. I want to get Karis on. She was very insightful on orthodoxy and all that stuff. And then we had just a bunch of just fun episodes, like the one where we talked about gremlins and just a bunch of like solo episodes.
Like the white pill on Gremlins.
Yeah, we had like a 2-hour episode on Gremlins. But yeah, it was a great year. So for
It was a great year.
you guys that are like coming in a little bit like later in the season, and we do this every Wednesday, and we just you know sometimes we're very professional. We're like, okay, we're going to invite a guest over. I'm going to read every book they've ever written, and I'm going to do detailed conversation and biographical data, and be very topical and to the point. And this is a
Yeah.
very professional show. And other
Yeah.
times we just talk about gremlins for 2 hours. All right.
Yeah.
But I'm going to
Hey,
invite a lot more people again.
yeah, Alex, when we do one of those professional shows, let me know. I'd love to be I'd love to be a part of that.
We did. Okay. Like, we had
I know.
look, I'm looking back here, and like the episode with Jason was very professional, even though we
Yes.
joked around a lot, and we let him talk about his show mostly.
Of course.
Dr. Zachary Porku, very professional, even though we did talk a lot about like
I was on my best
Shadowrun and
behavior.
like
I was
Cyberpunk.
I was on my best behavior. Yep.
Yeah. He kind of intimidated me because he's so intelligent, and so
Yeah.
he's out there doing Lord's work. And
Yeah,
even the episode, I mean, the one where I laughed the most was probably the one with Jasper, where we're reading his poetry, because that was so funny.
Great.
For you guys that are not familiar, if you go back to episode 13 of the season, it's Jasper Ceylon. And what Jasper did is basically he spent like a year or two basically writing poetry, like the most ridiculously like absurd poetry, and sending it into like poetry publishers, like
Yeah.
college like
Do we have
magazines
any of it?
and
Do I have it?
poetry stuff. I have the PDF somewhere, and
Yeah, I have it somewhere too.
he did it all under like pseudonyms and like characters he kind of invented, and they were like one-armed like lesbian black women, and like angry hippie boomer, just
maximum intersectionality.
Yeah, maximum intersection. And all these got published, and he compiled them all and released them as a book, where he's like, okay, see, like you'll publish the most retarded stuff if it's like if it ticks the right intersectional points.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff, like you read it and you're like, there is no way. Like when I read some of this stuff, I was like, there is no way this stuff got actually published in a real poetry journal. And then I went on the websites, and it was there, and they took him seriously. And it was like, like Stalin's cum slut and stuff like that. It was so bad, but it was so funny. Yeah, I laughed so hard. Like I couldn't keep focused the entire episode we had him on. I was just done. Did you find it? Did you find the PDF?
Oh yeah. I'm looking through it right now.
Read some for everybody.
One of the greatest things is he starts it off with, the poet is a liar who always speaks the truth.
Right.
Just right off the bat. Yeah, what was funny about this guy, and like all the episodes were great. All the episodes are great, but this one was special, I think, only because there's so little original humor out there these days. And I think you and I both really appreciate humor, and we like laughing at stuff and like making fun of things, and like this is just it's funny by itself. All right, it's funny by itself, but with the prank side of it and what he did, just cranks it. Okay, so here's one. This is by Adelaide Nwankno Yachagaha, winner of the 74th CBC 7 State Media Short Poem Contest. So this won something apparently.
So it won an award, guys. It won an award in a poetry organization in the United States.
So it starts with a quote from Toni Morrison, which I don't think Toni Morrison actually said this, but it starts with navigating a white male world was not threatening. It wasn't even interesting. It was more. I was more interesting than they were. I knew more than they did, and I wasn't afraid to show it. Okay, maybe she did say that, but anyway.
That
So
sounds
the
like
poem
Jimmy
is,
Anderson.
yeah. Maybe I was thinking of somebody else less retarded. Anyway, here's the poem. Flick crit sit rit me into Miss Tick. Hinge match want me give this white dick. Give me his white dick. Say no Miss Tahe, say no give. Like I'm Quino Thera Kebrin. Fuck me, I don't even know. Speaking piggin, yeah. Speak real idic. Voodoo practicasta oil drip. No get I like Shakespeare. Otello. Shagal Basni. I'm doing the whole thing. Fuck you people. Shagal Basni hot der Vorich. Belong what and there's an asterisk in woman. Woman go watch wrist to wrist. Only want wife go masta yes. Yes flick crit sit rit dis bitch. Into mystic. Soon find out me make fresh balloons go fist. So if I was a character on The Expanse, I would expect to be spaced immediately for saying this shit. Oh, it goes on. It goes on.
Jack in the chat says decolonizing a stray was my favorite. I agree with him. Decolonizing a stray, that was one of the
so like
about the cat
rap. Yeah, exactly. Shitty decolonizing. Hold on, let me find that one. Decolonizing a stray.
I feel like the whole episode we just read all this stuff and just laughed because it was so funny. Like
here it is. Hey, didn't we say we wanted to do episodes where we read poetry?
Yeah, there we go. Let's read some poetry. Decolonizing a stray. Who's it written by?
This is written by Z.L. Williams. All right. Presenting Decolonizing a Stray by Z.L. Williams. Kitty cat, darling, explore your new home. Take great unfettered strides. Get, quote unquote, uppity. I won't stop you. No more donated food. No more scratchy cotton blankets to catch broken rest on. You've been emancipated. It only cost $49. It came with a free tote bag and treats for the easing process. Still wearing your tag? I claim you as French. Chimal. You don't look French. Never trust a slave name. Your gloss black fur is earth-drawn onyx or gunmetal to them. They write superstitions about you. Broken mirrors / steps under a ladder type shit. What 7 years of bad luck in your language? Can't say? Did you have yours stolen too? Your meows are sibilant and curled, as if formed at the front of the mouth. They instead want to emerge from the diaphragm, collect forgotten phonemes on the way out. Reclaim your syllables, friend. How about a new name? One with an X in it, or an emoji. Self-determination is just that, a linguistic unyoking. Let's try. Blink if you hear one you like. That one? Good choice. Right, the food. I'll spare you the Imes unseasoned chicken pellets. Tonight, Meowcomex. You eat beef suya and lentils with me. Tonight, we feast as the free.
He called him Malcolm X, and then he had one about there was one about like a reptile or something like that. He had a good name for the like the iguana or something like that. And it's just...
right, we are changing my name on today's stream. All right, we're gonna go ahead and edit name and headline. And I am, you know what? Nope, display name. I am now Meowcom X for the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, Meowcom X.
Emancipated
feline, decolonized feline.
Nah, I fixed it. I am now emancipated pussy.
I have a black cat, and I don't know if she's emancipated or not. But she likes to follow me in the bathroom when I take a dump. But anyways, that was a fun episode back in the it was like August or something. No, it was like April. God, I lost track of time. Oh man, it was March. That was a long time ago. But yeah, that was a good one. We had a good time with that one. We had Konstantin von Hofmeister in there. We talked about his book Multipolarity, which is really good. So see, sometimes we went from Malcolm X to a multipolar world, like in 7 days, basically.
We went from emancipated pussy to being restacked by Alexander Dugin.
Yeah, that's true. That is true, right? Again, we stuck by Alexander Dugin, and after we had that clown show where we made fun of liberal, exactly. That's why we're the greatest podcast on
I
Substack,
know.
guys.
What? That
Right?
is some range, my friend. That is some goddamn range.
It's
friend.
truly a variety show we're having on here.
Yeah.
This is deep intellectualism, but also mixed with Malcolm X.
The smartest retards on Substack. That's what this is.
We did have John Carter. We did have John Carter, but he was like on dial-up internet, so that's probably our worst sounding episode. But he wasn't like Colombia or like Nicaragua.
Man, he was doing some Canada
running guns or something like that.
Yeah,
and
who knows?
Yeah, and he like
Simon Bolivar, but for Canada.
Yeah, he was doing that, and he was like doing weird stuff down in the south of the equator. And but we ended up talking about Japan for like 2 hours. That was like one of the longest
episodes.
One of my favorite
episodes. That was one of my favorite episodes. Yeah. It was great.
We talked about Japanese culture and how different the Japanese are. And we also talked about when we had John Carter on, if you guys remember, that was right when was it Michigan, the whole word of power where that girl in Michigan dropped the whatever happened to that.
Minnesota. That was Minnesota.
Minnesota. Where that chick dropped the N-word on the little Somali, right? And that was in the news for like a week, and that just kind of disappeared. Remember? Do we ever get any follow up on that? Does anybody know? Like, do we
looking it up?
Like, it was what was God, it's so wild how like like in today's age, how something like that happens and it's just everywhere on the internet. That's all you hear about. And then boom, it just disappears. Like nobody knows. Like, yeah, that happened like back in like May, and we have like no memory of it, but we talked about it for like 3 weeks straight. And but
according to the propaganda site Wikipedia, she was arraigned at the end of October, but it needs update. Hold on, let's see. All right, we're gonna click. All right, we're gonna go to the source. Okay, so the AP reports Minnesota woman charged for using racial slur against black child. Well, she's made $800,000 out of it, so that's great. That's good for her.
What's the charge? Like, what's the charge?
So Minnesota prosecutors filed misdemeanor disorderly conduct charges against a woman accused of using a racial slur. Defendant wrongfully and unlawfully engaged in offensive, obscene, abusive, boisterous, or noisy conduct, or in offensive, obscure, or abusive language that would reasonably tend to arouse alarm, anger, or resentment in others, the criminal complaint alleges. So they're basically saying it was fighting words. It was what it sounds like. But,
that's obviously a trumped up charge. It's nonsense.
Yeah,
right?
Wasn't that guy like a pedophile, like taking pictures of kids or some shit too? Something like that. I don't
understand how anybody lives in Minnesota. I mean, I'm sorry for that state, but it's literally like it seems like it's a third world shithole,
Well, yeah. How does Minnesota go from literally Lake Wobegon to fucking lesser, like a shittier, colder version of Somalia?
It's how does that work? It's truly like malicious importation and malicious immigration policies. I mean, I don't have a problem with I don't have a problem with Hispanics. I like Hispanics. Like
Hispanics are great, man.
You're basically a Mexican, right?
Yeah,
and
I'm a North Caribbean, bro. Caribbean.
Yeah, me being Romanian, I'm basically the Mexicans of Europe. So it's just it's like I have a problem with Hispanics and anything like that. I do have a problem with like complete cultural replacement, right? And I'm sitting down. Look, I don't know about you guys, but when I moved to South Carolina, the one thing I expected in South Carolina was racist white people and like old black ladies. That's what I expected. Okay, like that like Colonel Sanders and
we got those down here. The old black ladies, they're great. Old Baptist church ladies,
church black ladies, right?
Yeah, man.
And that's that's pretty much what I was expecting, right? I didn't get that down here. There's none of that, right? Nobody has hated on me for being a European once down here, and I'm pretty disappointed to be honest. I wanted to be called at least one anti-LGBT slur or something, on the street, but none of that has happened.
That's
My neighbor
disappointing.
did make fun of me. My very South Carolina neighbor made fun of me because she says I was dressed too nice while mowing my lawn. Like, she's like, "What are you from, like, Europe or something?" Because I was like mowing like my lawn in like khakis or something like that with a polo shirt on. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'll mow my lawn in pajamas or whatever the fuck you do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna be out here in the street like a peasant, like with a sleeveless t-shirt or something like that. Like
mowing the lawn like your grandfather taught you.
Yeah, like a Leonard Skinner ripped t-shirt or something like that. I like to dress up when I step outside my front door. I'm a man of wealth and taste, a man of culture, right? So if I mow the lawn,
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm at there's been, in the last few years, there's been a lot of like Central and South American immigrants coming to the area, to the point where like it's starting to feel like California here, unfortunately, right? Which is like, I love California, not because of the Hispanic immigrants. I just love California because of California, but it's starting to have California vibes down here in South Carolina. And I went to the DMV. I had to like, South Carolina is like sticker registration, like process is just medieval compared to other places, right? You can't do anything online. Like, I got this thing where like, renew your registration. You can go online, and they had like a QRC code, but when you click on it, you scan the QRC code and you go to it, it doesn't actually let you pay it online. It just tells you to come in. And I'm like, what the fuck's the point of goddamn QRC code? like, what's the point of having an online page if you can't do anything online, and it just tells you to go into like the DMV, right? That's just the stupidest thing, right? And so I went to the DMV, and compared to California, the DMV here is a paradise, right? Like in California, in Southern California, if you need to go to DMV, you got to go like 5 days ahead of your appointment, okay? And you got to camp out, and it takes like 30 hours just to like, just to walk to the front door. And it's just nightmare. It's a nightmare, right? And here it's like pleasant in and out, you the thing. But I'm standing in line. There's like two people in front of me, and at the little desk kiosk thing in the middle of the place, there's this like old like black lady, very Southern, and she's getting accosted by this like family of non-English speakers, like Hispanics, right? And they're talking in Spanish, and they're getting frustrated because she doesn't speak Spanish. And they're like arguing about something in Spanish to this old black lady. And she's just like, she's like frustrated, and everybody's frustrated. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I was getting irritated because I was like, you know what? Like, I didn't move to South Carolina for this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with that shit in California, but like, I don't like, and I know they're all probably nice people, but it was irritating to me, man. You know what I'm saying? Right? I was like, like, I like my nice DNV with the, nice black lady that calls me sugar and stuff, like, I don't need like, just, why are you here? You know what I mean? Like, why are you here? Like, and I am a reasonable person. I am an immigrant, right? I'm not going to go to some old nice black lady and start barking at her in Romanian, right? Because she doesn't understand my, like, that's not cool. That's not fair. This is her house in a way, right? Like, the two people that belong in South Carolina, because they've been here since South Carolina was called South Carolina, are white people and black people. Everybody else is a guest, and I include myself as a guest, right? As a European, right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
And I, being a European immigrant, and really a West, I guess, like a Californian by growing up in culture, right? I am a guest here, and I'm not gonna go. I don't know. It just, to me, like, it left a bad taste in my mouth, right? Because places like California and New York can like uphold, can, in a way, they can, like, they have the infrastructure to support this like multinational kind of, night city kind of environment, right? Like, that doesn't bother me, just like in Tokyo, in Tokyo they speak like 5 different 50 different languages and like in different European cities, like in a city. But some small out of the way place in South Carolina with the population, the whole state of South Carolina has a population like that's lower than the Los Angeles County, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like way lower than Los Angeles County, right? Let alone the entire state of California. I just felt like, that's not cool. That's not cool to the people that grew up here and their grandparents grew up here. That, you have this old lady accosted by guys that don't know how to speak a word of English, and you have to do business with them. And then, of course, I'm inconvenienced because something that could have taken a stamp, which is, when I got to my turn, I literally showed her my paper, gave her like the $40 it takes to register a car in South Carolina, and I walked away. It was instant. It was like, oh, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Done. That's what we want, right? But no, it was difficult because now with just foreigners, and then the whole place was filled with foreigners, and it's just like, I can only imagine what people in Minnesota felt like, as their entire city became fucking Mogadishu, and how fair is it to people? And you know what? If that makes me an evil nationalist racist, well, fuck it. I'm an evil nationalist racist. Okay. I think some places should retain their ethnic character. And the ethnic character I want in South Carolina is old black ladies and old white dudes. That's what South Carolina is supposed to be, like those people deserve a home and they deserve a place where their entire generations of ancestors have lived from. I work with the guy. Are you familiar with a Gullah Geechee?
No. What's that?
So remember that show, Gullah Gullah Island?
Wait, say it one more time.
Gullah Gullah Island. It was like a kids cartoon show type thing from the 90s.
Yeah, no. Nope.
It was about like, it's just Gullah Geechee people are they're like a subgroup of Africans. They were like coastal Africans, and they were brought over as slaves, but specifically settled in the coastal South Carolina area, South Carolina, Georgia, in like the marshland basically. And they brought these like arts and crafts and specifically like rice farming, rice growing, and shrimp and stuff. And there's like a huge communities of people that like are literally descendants from these guys, these pre-American early colonial like African people that were brought here, and they have like, had villages and like communities and stuff. And there's some places on some of these islands around here that these guys can probably trace back their ancestry like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 generations to those original like slaves brought over. And a lot of them were freed slaves, and there's a huge cultural element here in what's called the Low Country, right? And those guys belong here, man. They've been here as long as any European settler, right? And it's really irritating that a small town like where we live is forced to deal with this massive influx of people that don't speak the language and don't share a culture or even a baseline culture. And it's really irritating, man. I don't know. Like the whole thing like left a bad taste in my mouth. And I'm telling you, I'm an immigrant. And not only am I an immigrant, I'm very fond of Hispanic people. Some of my best friends are Mexican, and I like them. And matter of fact, I actually had this conversation with my Mexican friend, he's actually a Texican, right?
The Texicans are great.
He doesn't even speak any around here. He doesn't speak any Spanish.
Yeah, Texicans are great around here.
And he felt exactly the same way I did. He's like, you get these guys, and they just come out and like, come on, guys. Like you cannot get mad at the DNV lady because she doesn't speak your language. She doesn't have to speak your language. Okay, like fuck you. Exactly. Like I'm sorry. Like whether you're if I was standing in line and some Romanian people, were sitting there getting mad at this old black lady because she didn't speak Romanian, I'd be pissed off. I'd probably tell them off in Romanian. I'd walk over there and I'd drop a few Romanian F-bombs on them and be like, hey man, get your fucking ass out of here, dude, and go back to Moldova or whatever you come from, fucking peasant ass motherfucker. And then I'd whip them because I'd whip them like a boyar. We used to whip their ancestors, while they're out there making that mama liga on the field. They bring on my riding crop. I'd remind them about the class differences
The
in
divine
the old
order.
country, you know,
The
like,
divine order. Here it is.
yeah. They'd be like, oh, just because it's the 21st century, you think you're
Uh-uh.
equal now. Get back to
21st century. You're just lying to yourself. You're just lying to yourself. Let
get,
me
get,
remind you.
get back to the sheep, you know. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but that's kind of the things. And it's interesting because I don't, you know, I haven't been following the news, and in a way, like, everything feels so just bad and disconnected. And I'm very disappointed. Like, of course, right now we're having, you know, the news that I am somewhat following is the fact that, like usual, the conservative side of things is completely split up. We're dealing with the whole Groiper versus not Groiper
Oh,
thing and everything, you know?
yeah.
And
I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed I know what that is now. But I figured
right.
it was finally time to just ask the question, what the fuck is a groiper and why is it retarded?
Well,
Which was
I'm listen.
yeah,
I'm not an anti-Groiper, okay? I'm not
yeah,
pro Groiper either.
yeah,
I find them to be in a way, they're like a frustrated valve of anger at
yeah. I
the
mean that's fair enough.
mainline
That's fair enough.
establishment. And it seems that, like, it seems like even the people that we elected, or I mean, not we, because I don't do any of that democracy stuff,
Yeah,
but are kind of dropping the ball on, what really matters. What really matters. Like, look, I've said this before, and I've said it numerous times, right? The whole, like, ICE thing, and the whole, like, the government getting all meme magic-y fake ass shit
yeah,
on ICE thing, right? That doesn't that doesn't that doesn't make that doesn't give me a paycheck, guys. Okay, that doesn't let me buy a house. Okay,
correct.
like, I don't buy it. I don't think anybody in our generation, right? That's boomer
Yeah,
bait in a way. Yeah, like, it's funny,
yeah,
it's kind of cool for a second, right? But
yeah.
ultimately, I'm not mad at an illegal immigrant for coming over here to have a good life, or trying to have a good life. Like, that's the game. That's the reality of the world, right? When you're poor and you're in a desperate situation, you're going to go where there's money. All right. That's just the number one thing you're going to do. And you better believe that if I was born in some third world shithole somewhere in Central America or something like that,
Or
and
Minnesota.
yeah,
Just
or
kidding.
Minnesota, or I would go out of my way to go to somewhere where I can make some money, or there was work, right? You can't get mad at those people. I'm sorry. Like, it's just the way of the world, right? Like, people go, oh, they break the law. Well, who gives a shit? Okay, everybody breaks the law, right? They're gonna come get theirs, right? The people that are really guilty, the people are the people that encourage them to come. And you know, look, those people aren't gonna come here if there were no jobs, right? The reality is, I would really care about immigration stuff. Like, I would actually believe that it was real immigration stuff if, instead of seeing, ICE, like, roll up some fools in, like, the garment district of Los Angeles, or slap some protesters around. I want to see ICE bust into, a contracting company that hires a bunch of illegal immigrants and arrest that fat fuck, like, contract boss, right? Who's obviously a white guy usually, right? And throw his ass in jail. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
that's who needs to go to jail. Or the guys that own the corporations that own the hotels that hire the thousands of illegal, like, guest workers and cleaners. But you go, oh, but they don't really hire those guys. No, they do. What they do, they do it through subcontracting, right? We all know how this
yeah,
game works. Anybody that's worked in any, like, in industry knows that you get around immigration laws, and these big corporations get around it by subcontracting. They hire some kind of contractor that's like, oh, I'm a labor contractor and I provide, like, so and so catering company or whatever, and then that company is like a shell of a shell of a shell, and they hire 1,000 illegal immigrants, right, to clean your hotel. We know that goes on, right? Everything, this entirety of the ICE immigration thing, is fake and gay and just WWF theater, until we start seeing Americans who hire and enable illegal immigration to happen. Simple. That's who needs to go to jail. If you make it to where like knowingly hiring illegal workers that do not belong in this country, until that becomes a felony or a significant financial liability for corporations, then all immigration stuff is just fake and gay, because none of us care if the 60-year-old grandma that's been living on, here for, 40 years, nobody cares about her, because that's not who's taking your job, guys. All right. That's a fart in the wind when it comes to taxpayer money and that kind of stuff, right? Even if that lady's taking Social Security or whatever, she's still paying taxes at the store. She's still buying stuff and all this stuff. I don't care about that. You deal with that later, right? Those people will leave if, it's the people that enable, the farmers that hire tons and tons of migrant workers, right? Really, the whole H-1B visa thing, that's where real immigration reform happens, and we haven't seen that. Okay, all right, like it's all cute and entertainment that they're out there protesting and they're smashing people's faces with the pepper spray or whatever, but it's all theater, guys. It's all theater, and until there's actual real like legal reform and legal consequences. I mean, sure, like they're arresting dudes at Home Depot or whatever, right? But then there's an entire neighborhood being built behind my neighborhood, and I guarantee you, every single one of those guys is an illegal immigrant working, the lawns, the contracting, the roofing, the painting, right? That's the people that are taking your jobs, right? But it's not them. You can't blame those dudes for taking the jobs. You have to blame the people that are hiring them for 40 to 30% the price of an American contractor, right? So that's my opinion on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's bread and circuses,
right
up until everything finally falls apart, and then actual change can occur, or maybe nothing will actually fall apart at any point, and it will simply degrade into fake and gay retardery. But yeah, it really does seem. I think you're right. It's the incentives. It's why does this occur? Who made it this way? And that's what I've been having a lot of fun with in class. Like going back, I started this 9/11 unit with the Cold War and the end of the Cold War and the rise of the unipolar world and all these kinds of things. It's not the individuals. I mean, the individuals are part of it, but they're not the thing that are driving it. It's the systems. It's being caught up in the history. It's being caught up in the machine. Another one of the episodes that was an instant banger this season. Well, that's what it really is. I agree with you.
All right. Well, and it's hard to care, well, it's not hard to care, but like maybe it's the cold weather that's creeping up on me. Maybe it's just the season. I mean,
the reminder
for
of
us
death.
ortho, this is darkness. No, it's actually it's a happy season. I actually, and when I'm happy, I tend to be less online. No, it's so true, because when I'm depressed, I'm online. I'm just like, oh, I'm depressed. Let me go read about more depressing shit, so I get even more depressed. But I've been in a pretty good mood, overall. I guess on the ledger overall, like I won't lie, this whole week I've been in the blackest of moods. I think I'm surprised my wife hasn't divorced me like just last week, because I've been just like pissy. My neck's been hurting. I got an injection in my C-spine. They shot like a steroid right into my facet joints, and I didn't feel good, guys. I mean, it happened right the day before the last podcast, and I did not feel good, guys. If you ever get an injection in your spine, it is not a pleasant experience. I haven't been able to sleep, and then it's cold on top of that. And then I'm playing Arc Raiders till 3 a.m, going to work at 5. I'm really living an unhealthy lifestyle of Red Bull and Zyn and Arc Raiders. And one thing I don't do is I don't neglect my family. So the only time I get to play video games and stuff is in the middle of the night. So I just neglect my soul and my body is what I do. Right.
Yeah.
So I hang out with my daughter. I do this, I do that. I have dinner with my family. They all go to bed. And then I stay up until the freaking break of dawn playing video games, go to work, and probably really unsafe at work. Probably am violating all sorts of American Medical Association rules and stuff because I'm like,
It's fine. That's what
eyes
the
are
Zen is for.
closing. I'm all like,
Yeah.
amoxicillin, augmentin. It's the same saying, guys. You just take that, you know.
Here, take this. Call me in the
I'm
morning.
like, they're like, Alex, you got 10 more patients. I'm like, no, I don't. I got Arc Raiders. Gotta go topside, my friends. You know, the queen is waiting for me. But so I've been running on very little sleep. And the reason I've been running on sleep is I'm joking about. No, I'm not really joking. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not gonna lie. But it's because I can't sleep because my back is killing me. Right? I have to have to sleep like a vampire, man. I have to sleep like in a coffin. I have like an ultra. I need a coffin. I have an ultra hard mattress, and I sit there like a vampire, dude. I sleep flat on my back, looking straight up.
Yeah, man, lean into the Transylvanian thing. Just do it. Just do it.
When the alarm goes off, I just like levitate out of bed. You know.
Yeah.
I have a dog that's like a wolf. She looks like a wolf. She follows me around. It's pretty cool, but it's also miserable, and yeah, I just haven't really. But you know, but on the most, I've been in a good mood. So when I'm in a good mood, I don't need to like get myself involved in dumb stuff. Like I went on Twitter yesterday. I was sitting there. I went on Twitter, and I saw Librarian of Colano just dogging on pagans, and it was the funniest shit. Right? There's this one pagan dude. How am I gonna find it, dude? I'm gonna find it for you guys because it's like I'm gonna find it and post it. He posted this picture of like, oh, there's our gods are in us, and it's like this wooden idol thing, right? But it looks like a butt plug, right? Like I was like, let me show you this. I gotta show you this guy's this thing, right? Because it looks like a butt plug, right? And a pagan, in old librarian, it was just dogging on it, and I thought it was really funny, so I had to jump in, and it kind of cheered it. It cheered me up a little bit, you know. I'm doing it right now, guys. Gotta wait for my fingers are cold. I can't type well. Let me get this on here because this really cracked me up.
Let's see it. We got to get him back on here, man.
I know.
It was a good time. He's been.
All right, you guys see it?
Where'd you post it?
It's on. I put it on the live stream. If you see it, you should.
Oh, there it is. What the fuck?
So this guy's like, you gods are dead. There's literally one living in my house, and librarian goes, he goes, Dildor, god of the loose change tray, and you guys like, that's a classic homosexual Christian answer, and he goes, you literally worship a penis, and I was like, pagan dork posts a gnomish butt plug demon and gets mad. What? I mean, it looks like a wooden gnome butt plug surrounded by a butthole made of fur.
I was going to say, it has an incredibly furry bush. It's got a very furry bush, very furry.
And so I was like, I went online, and that's what I did for like 5 minutes, and I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this to myself?
What is this?
Why am I on this godforsaken website? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't do anything. It's not good for me. It's just bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's just trash. Like, nothing good on Twitter. Like, I'm like looking at it right now, and it's like pagan nonsense, morons, just trash. It's just trash, man. Like, lots more pagan dildos, like I don't. Yeah, it's just, I don't know why. I'm done. I don't even want to look at it anymore. Like, at one time I used to have a huge, like, I had like a huge like Twitter account. It wasn't like a really big influential one, but about like 15,000 followers on there, and I used to, it was under a different name, and I was just like, fuck this, man. I deleted it. I was like, I'm done with that. And
these things are fake. These things are fake.
Yeah, 100%. It's just not real. You know what I did yesterday, though?
Yes.
So
Did
this
you
is
do
really
yesterday?
cool. I forgot to tell you. I meant to tell you guys. I did something really cool. Um, so I've been going to this church. I love my church, and
Yeah.
we were talking to a bunch of dudes, and I'm like, we should start like a men's group, like a men's fellowship group, right? And the idea is that it's not like going to be like one of these groups where we're out like doing service or anything like that. A lot of these church groups have that tendency to become like the men's lawn mowing for everybody group, or something like that. And no, so we decided like, no, we just need to like a group just to hang out, basically like an in-person church version of the Black Ibis, probably a little bit less crude. No, it's pretty crude. But so what we decided to do is we decided to like start with like a little small core group and start inviting more and more of the guys that go to our church, because cool enough, our church, like the average age is like 30, like the guys are 30 in their early 30s, family guys. I'm like actually on the kind of the older end of the crowd as a 42-year-old, and there's a bunch of guys in their early 20s that go to the church too. So we decided
Mm-hmm.
to do it like a male, like from 18 up. We have to do I don't think it's ideal to do 18 in a real society. We'd probably like pull up 16-year-olds and stuff, like 16-year-old guys, because they need a lot of mentorship too. But because we want to smoke cigars and stuff, we got to take only 18-year-olds. But yeah, we went to this like local cigar lounge, and we sat around and smoked cigars, and we talked about stuff, and it was a blast, man. I was there for a few hours, and like I had some of the best time I had in a long time. Just a bunch of dudes sitting around, smoking some cigars, drinking some drink, and I celebrated Veterans Day for myself because I'm a veteran, and I got a local beer called Semper Fidelis. Had a bulldog
Yeah.
on it. It was like a real Marine Corps beer. It was ass, but it was all right. Um, I did go to the brunch place, and they were giving away free coffee to veterans, but I didn't get any free coffee because it feels really gay to like ask for discounts and free shit, even though what I mean. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't do that. That's just too
That's
like.
that's that's a good idea though. Because you're making me think, man. Since joining our church, we had so I joined at the same time as another guy. So we have to drive just like a short distance to get to the church. It's just slightly out of town. But this other guy, and he has a family, uh, joined. Well, actually, it's he joined, and then his sister and her family are looking to join. But anyway, they live in the same town as us, and him and I have been talking about getting together, like hanging out, like having a connection in our town. And we have a cigar bar just up the road from where I live. So maybe that'll be the option. Maybe that'll be the answer.
Yeah, man.
Not a bad
Like
idea. I don't know if he gets into that stuff. They're pretty, it's a little more straight laced out here. Um,
right.
but there's good breakfast places and stuff like that too. So like that's kind of the thing. But yeah, no, I need to bring that up
What
next week. It's
you know,
I
you
put
know,
the,
you know what?
the seeds out there, so we'll
Yeah,
just see what happens.
what's hard? What's hard about stuff? Look, and we've talked about this on the podcast forever. It is very difficult for guys our age to make friends. All right, it is
Yeah, it really
difficult.
is.
It's like almost like God. I wish there was like a Tinder for just dudes hanging out. Like it's like like, hey man, you want to hang out? Like, I feel like when I meet somebody and like they're like, hey, we should hang out and like play some tennis or something, or it feels like I get all like nervous, like I'm going on, like I feel like I'm like a 17-year-old going on a date, for the first time, right? That's what I like. I'm like, oh, what if I hate this guy or something like that,
Yeah.
And it's very difficult for guys to do things, and I think it's very difficult for good guys to do things because we tend to have guilt about it. All right. There's this guilt
Or
where,
standards, alternatively.
well, it's not just that, it's that we feel guilty because in a way we let our wives and women in our lives kind of dictate our social schedules because we don't feel guilty if we do things they want to do. Right. So in a way, like, so like, I'm a husband and I'm a dad and I work full time and I have I have all these obligations, right? So I
Right.
often feel guilty to like take time for myself. I'm like, okay, every time I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go have a cigar, right? Or I'm gonna go somewhere. I get overwhelmed with this guilt where I'm like, well, I should be mowing the lawn, or I should be, taking my daughter to the park, or God, I should be like, I don't know, doing dishes, or I don't know, fucking fixing the roof, or putting out Christmas lights, all these things, right? And to take time to spend time with other guys feels very frivolous in a way. I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just being an insane person, right? But that's not a good thing, because you need to have like friendships, and you need to have friends, and you need to be out and do things. And we kind of talked about it, and we kind of voted against the idea, not, it was more of a slap the table vote against the idea of like focusing a group on like doing, volunteer work, or like, charity type stuff, because we can do that separately, and we can even like help organize it. But what it really needs to do is, there needs to be something we do where we're just, we allow ourselves to just be friends, just sit around and have a conversation, or, have a few beers while having a conversation with people that, we know they're like-minded for the most part, because we share, a faith together as a baseline of friendship. And, a lot of us are fathers, but what's really cool about the group is that, we had an old gentleman that is a professor, and then we had two guys that are 42, as I'm one of them, who are parents. And then we had a younger guy in his 30s that is also a parent. And then we had two guys. We had a single guy in his 30s, and then we had a 21-year-old that was hanging out. And that was kind of our initial group. And everybody's at different stages. Some of the guys are brand new to the church, like both of them are like new catechumens, and some of the other guys have been in church for, a lifetime. And it's just
Right.
this great group, and we got to just hang out, and it felt great. I felt like I came back from a good date, man. That's how crazy I felt like when driving home. I was all like in this good mood, and I got home, and I was like, my wife's like, "Oh, how'd it go?" And I was like, "Oh, it went great. It was exciting. I was so stoked about it. I'm looking forward to it. And it doesn't have to be like these stereotypical man things like smoking cigars, or I don't know, shooting guns. That stuff is cool, right? But it's not like, it doesn't have to be like this corny thing, but at the same time, it does, it's good to do things with friends that's outside it, because we get so stuck with our families and with our obligations that we forget to focus on our own personal relationships separate from those, and especially like for guys that just, recently got married, or, you know, you're kind of in, sometimes you can get caught in, that happened to me in the first like 5 years of my marriage, where I felt guilty if I did anything without my wife. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife felt guilty if she did anything without me. So every weekend, I'm getting up at work, and like, she just like, let's do this. And do you want to do this? And do you want, and sometimes deep inside, I don't fucking want to do any of that shit. I just want to sit around and fucking stare at the wall for a little bit. I just worked out, and that led to a lot of resentment sometimes, because she would do things that I wanted to do that were, maybe not her thing. She just, probably didn't feel like it, or it just didn't interest her, but she did it because she wanted to do things with me. And then I would do things like that, she wanted to do, and she wanted me to do with her, because, just because she felt guilty doing them without me. Right. And
Right.
a lot of times in the early relationship, in the first few years, actually, that built up a lot of resentment, and it was a lot of frustrations where like I was just not looking forward to like doing stuff sometimes. So I was tired, or just didn't feel like it, and vice versa, I think. And we had this long, long, long conversation one time, and we made a rule which we've stuck to it since, and it's worked really well for us. And this is my marriage advice to people that are married. Okay.
All right, here we go.
We made a rule, and the rule is we are allowed to say, no, I don't want to do this. And it is okay for you to do it without me. All right. It's like, my wife's like, oh, I want to go book shopping at the bookstore, and I want to, stop by the mall and buy a bunch of stuff. And then I want to do this, and this. Right. I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like doing that. I'm tired, and I would rather stay at home and play Arc Raiders. Right. And my wife, she has to kind of accept it, it's part of the rule. And then vice versa. If I go, hey, I want to go to all these places and like run around and like smoke cigars, she's like, go do it by yourself. And I have to be like, cool, okay. But part of our rule, and here's the good part of the rule, okay? And I think everybody should implement this. The rule is that there are certain things, like it's kind of like an override rule, where my wife can say, Alex, I am going to so and so's house tomorrow for their birthday party. It is really important to me that you come with me to this event. I would really like you there, right? In that case, I can't say no, right? And if she says it like that, she says, it's really important to me that you come, right? And then, in the inverse, I can also say things to her like, hey, I really want to go to this thing, or I really want to go to the underwater basket weaving club tonight. And it'd be really cool if you came with me because I need a partner. It means a lot that you come with me, right? She can't say no, right?
Right.
So like basically we can say no to each other, but if we invoke that I really, really want you to come, then we have to make a good effort to go, right? The rule is, though, that cannot be abused. Not everything can be the most important thing, right?
Right.
It's
Everything's
like
the most important thing, but nothing's the most important.
Yeah. Yep. So it allows us to go, hey, I don't need to go out, like my wife and my daughter, for example. My wife spends a lot of time with my daughter, and sometimes they like to go to like I don't know if you know the store Five Below or something, and they go to Five Below and
I don't actually remember.
It's like this like weird like store with like trinkets and weird stuff.
Oh
and
yeah, all
house
the
decor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I have, dude, I died. I don't go, like, for example, I can't do Walmart at all, or like Sam's Club, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the only way I'd be able to handle Sam's Club is like if I'm riding on an armored horse and I have a heavy mace or a flail and I'm swinging it at the freaking orcs left and right, like I just, like, I can't do that place, man. It just my blood pressure rises. I'm just I can't do it, but my wife likes going to Sam's Club. She likes going to like grocery stores. I can't stand it, right? So, but I like shopping. Don't get me wrong. You take me to like Gap or Banana Republic, I'll be there for like all day, like picking out outfits and stuff. It's just certain stores, man, like Walmart, Target. I don't like that stuff. But it's really important to be able to just say, no, I don't want to do that, right? Yeah. Otherwise, you're stuck at going, to every single event. And oftentimes, you have you can have imbalanced social circles where your wife, or when I say wife, you can interchange girlfriend, right? But you should be marrying a girlfriend. You should be dating forever, guys. But in relationships, you can have very unbalanced relationships, and often it's socially imbalanced. When my wife and I first met, just because she moved in with me into like my world, sort of, and she moved from kind of like the more inland California area to the coast where I was living and where I grew up. Every weekend, I would say a good 90% of the time, we were spending time with like my friend group. So it was my friends. It was like my friends' weddings or my friends' parties or my friends' hangouts and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But as we got older and we moved around, now, for example, my wife has a bunch of friends and I have like no friends because I'm an asshole, right? And nobody likes me. And when we do like make friends, like I ruin them, and nobody wants to be my friend anymore because I'm a mean cantankerous person that's just a podcaster. Who wants to be friends with a podcaster, right? Like, it's just,
I don't know, probably some massive fucking losers from Florida.
Yeah, it's just like weirdos and degenerates.
Yeah,
dude.
right. Yeah,
but
exactly.
Like
retards.
But yeah, like, so if I were to go to every single one of the events like she goes to, man, I would just every moment of my free time would be spent going to like a baby shower or like a thing, and it's just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that, man. Like, so I have to reserve the right to say no, and I think a good rule is that, like, if I have the weekend, I'm usually off like, Friday evening, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday's reserved for church, and that's what we do. Saturday now is also like often church because we tend to go to Vespers and to great Vespers on Saturday night. But when there's events and stuff, it's a 50-50. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'll go. I want to socialize, especially if it's mutual friends. But sometimes I can be like, you know what? I don't have to like all your friends, like I don't have to be at every single event. Then we can even take turns taking our daughter to like her friends' birthday parties and stuff. It doesn't always have to be both of us. Like we can allow like, oftentimes my wife is really cool about this. She'll be like, hey, I'm taking, our daughter to her friend's birthday party. It's going to be like 4 hours. Why don't you go do something different? Like don't go there. I mean, I have a inkling that she's just trying to get me not to come to the birthday party, so I'm not sitting here like talking about the USS Liberty and all of this stuff at like a 7-year-old's birthday party and basically getting excommunicated from the community. But I'm just going to pretend she's doing me a favor, right? By letting me have some free time. But yeah. I think that's a big important thing. And I've noticed that I've talked to guys, our age and younger that I'm married, and sometimes they have a hard time with this exact topic where they're like, well, I would come play Arc Raiders with you, but my wife wants to do this and this every night, and it's like, well, hey man, just tell your wife I'm gonna fucking play some Arc Raiders for a little bit, like just give me an hour or two to just do my own thing for a bit. Because man, otherwise you can't do anything. You can't write, you can't read, you can't do anything if your entire adult life is taken up between work and family, right? You need to be able to do stuff, and there's an unhealthy codependent life expectation that we've put on ourselves in a contemporary world that I don't think is good. I don't think it's I don't think it's a good thing to be that codependent sometimes,
Yeah.
But I don't know.
These are good things for people to hear, especially in a world where you find, one other person, and that may be the only other person that you've got, because we're all moving around, we're all in different places, and we're all being not forced, but the system does not encourage community. The system does not encourage church. It wants isolated consumers. And, you don't want to overcorrect, basically, I think is what you're trying to say. Maybe in some ways. You don't want to overcorrect. I know for the relationship with my wife, we have a similar kind of understanding where there are certain events like family events or close friend events where we are both going to go together. We've obviously got church, and then we have theater. We're going to be in another show this season, so that'll be fun for us. And that's like built-in, quality time, doing something interesting instead of just watching TV or doing something like that at home. So like that's good. But yeah, we call it fuck off time. Like just I'm gonna fuck off and I'm gonna go just do whatever. Probably play some Fallout, post on Substack, read a book. She's listening to a podcast, doing some knitting, whatever. And it's fine. We joke, I've got you for the rest of my life. I can take an hour or two to myself here, and it is what it is. But these things take time too. Like for us, did you notice it's gotten better since you've moved to Charlotte? Since you've moved to where you are, and it's you've made connections and like things are growing. Because like this year is the first year where I feel like her and I have social lives apart from each other. But it took a few years for us to make friends and make connections and all that crap.
Yeah, actually, absolutely. I've, it's really weird with me, right? Because I am, people say like I'm an intro. People say, oh, we're an introvert or an extrovert and all this stuff, right? I don't know exactly what you would put me as. I think I'm a limited extrovert, right? I do feel energized in a crowd or around people, and I do my best, like work wise, when things are chaotic. I like deadlines, and I like being behind a deadline, and scrambling to complete stuff, which kind of shows in how this show comes out, because I come up with things like, at 4:55, like this in the intro song that I was downloading as we were hitting live, I'm like, I want to
That was
change
a
the
good tune,
song
by the
real
way.
fast.
I really like that tune, by the way. That was good
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm just like, I'm just gonna randomly, like, I've been in this weird mood where I listen to Russian rap as I'm driving to work, and I don't know. I was like, I kind of want to share my Russian rap fascination with.
Yeah.
I was just watching a lot of like Daisy and uh like Tarkov videos. Just like I'm just gonna do that, right? But
Uh,
I I tend to do well in crowds, but I also get really fatigued from crowds, And sometimes like I don't like I'll get in these moods where I'm just like, I don't want to fucking talk to anybody, dude. I don't even want to
yeah.
talk to myself. I don't even want to think in language, right? Like
Yeah.
sometimes
You and I both have jobs where we have to talk to people a lot.
oh yeah, constantly. And
Oh, yeah.
that
Oh,
there's
talking all day
there's
long.
social fatigue, right? Because you
Yeah.
probably
Oh,
have
yeah.
all these kids and they're
Oh, yeah.
talking to you about like blah 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 and blah blah blah, and they're probably
7 different
asking you a
conversations
bunch of
going. Yeah.
retarded questions, and you're like, fuck,
Mhm.
dude,
Sit
and
down, shut up, do your work. Okay, we're going to discuss this and blah, blah. Hey, you over there.
right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have to put on like you constantly have to put on a professional face and like, at least a mentorly, scholarly facade. And
Right.
I mean, I have to do the same. And like sometimes, like after 30 or 40 people interactions at work, I get home and I'm just like this. Oh man, this last week has been rough, right? Like busy work week, right? And Thursday night, we do the podcast on Wednesday, so that's social thing, right? Like I'm talking the whole time, and then Thursday comes around and like my wife's like, oh hey, by the way, it's like STEM night at your daughter's school. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And it's like, oh, they're doing like STEM stuff. So I'm like, I'll go because I want to like meet her teachers. And I just want to like, I want her teachers to like see me, to see that I show up to these events, right? Because you know how it is, man. Like you're probably like, you probably know like the parents of some of your kids, and
Just a few. Yeah.
you're just much more inclined to like understanding where they come from and like that kind of stuff if you meet the parents. So I like to be like present. I like to be like seen. That way, in case I do get a dickbag teacher that's like picking on my daughter, they know that I will come to the school and like, be a complete and total Karen and like chimp out, right? So I want them to know that like I'm there, like I will show
Yeah.
up, I will Karen out at the PTA meeting, right? And
Yeah.
so I went to that, and it was the STEM thing was like they were making ice cream in a bag and like making hot air balloons and like stacking sticks. And there's like 1,000 children in like 17 different classrooms running around. And it just like sucked the energy out of me, dude. It was just like,
Yeah.
I was down to like zero, like, like like yellow cell phone battery, like,
Dead
this cell
battery.
phone's going to shut down. And then,
Low power
you know,
mode.
yeah. And then we did we rolled right into like Friday, and I feel like I did some other social event on Friday. Like my daughter had her friends over because I was off from work, and they came over after school, and I had a bunch of girls just screeching in my house for like 5 fucking hours, right? And I love having kids over my house. It's like it's wonderful, right? That like I want to provide the reason I own a house is so I can have a kid, so I can have a bunch of kids over so they can play and stuff. But there's so much K-pop Demon Hunter I can listen to before like I want to just yeet myself into the wood chipper, right? And and how many bead bracelets I can wear, which is wonderful. I love it, right? But at the same time, it's like exhausting. And then Saturday comes around, and our church, for our non-Orthodox friends, on the 15th, we are starting the Nativity fast. So we're going to be fasting from the 15th of November all the way to Christmas, right? Like, and that's going to be a long fast, right? Buckle up, Fisto. It's a long one and so because of that, they did a kind of like a Thanksgiving feast, right? Like people brought a bunch of turkey, and everybody stayed up. And I was at the church until near midnight on Saturday, right? We're sitting around the fire, having conversation, and everybody was there, like over 100 people, plus something like 1,000 kids playing soccer, running around and stuff. And it was really fun, but I was drained, man. Like I was just like, and of course we rolled straight from that into liturgy the next morning. So that was another full day of like being around people, and that it just, my battery, man, it was down to zero. And then Monday comes around and boom, we have another like dinner date obligation, basically, where we meet up with some I actually had dinner with our priest and his wife, and it was a great time, but as a social event, and we were there until like 11 o'clock at night again. And it was just this ongoing like social block that with no break, and I rolled into work. So right now, like my battery is just like at zero, like I'm running off of fumes, man. I'm leaking like lithium, because you need days. And sometimes I just want to be like, I just want to get a hotel room, like rent an Airbnb somewhere and go there and just sit, just sit and not talk to anybody. Like, I don't know, bring a cooler of like Uncrustable, like jelly peanut butter Uncrustables, and just stare at the wall like for 48 hours, just
3 weeks, three
yeah,
weeks of wall staring.
just nothing, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I'll just say the Jesus prayer from sunrise to sundown, like living a
See, there
monastic
you
life,
go.
you know?
Bring Xbox for Arc.
Yeah. Even that's a lot of work, like I gotta
Yeah.
tactically plan my raids and stuff, and I gotta figure out how to do things. No, just like it's just exhausting, and like sometimes, like I said, I'm an extrovert. I mean, I wouldn't be doing a podcast live with people calling me gay and stuff if I wasn't an extrovert, right? But it's just it does get exhausting, and you add like family and life, and you're just like, I just want to chill, dude. I just want to do nothing. And that's kind of why we're ending the season right now, actually, because
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
we're coming back before Christmas, which is odd. People are like, why don't you come back in 2020 now? Because I want to talk about Christmas. That's why we're coming back before
Yeah.
Christmas, right?
Because Christmas is
But
great.
this is the period that is the most like socially busy, I think, in people's lives. Like
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, we're going to have a bunch of people over for Thanksgiving, and it's also when you're buying presents, you're setting up decorations, you're putting up your Christmas tree. Oh, it's a good question. When do you put up your Christmas tree?
Um. Usually, I'm trying to think because
For you
it's
guys in the
actually been a
chat,
while.
tell me in the
Yeah.
chat when you guys put up your Christmas tree.
Um. Back back home when I was growing up, I want to say we probably did it like the week after Christmas, or not week after Christmas. What the hell am I saying? The week after Thanksgiving, or maybe like that weekend, or like the week after that. You got like you wouldn't want it to be dried out and stuff like that. But
Right.
yeah, second week of December, or like first week of December. That's typically when we would do it. We had a place by where I grew up where we, go shop, go tramp through the woods and cut down a tree, cut down a lovely little tree. I have good memories of that. I haven't thought of that place in a long time. But the whole experience, man, of going out, tracking down a tree, walking through the snow, walking through the dirt and the mud and the shit, all the just out there, and then finding the right one and saw that thing down, watching dad saw that thing down. Always a good time carrying it
That
back.
sounds fun.
They always had this delicious cider too. Yeah, they had this really hot, spicy cider that they would serve. So when you come back with the tree, it was cider for everybody. But yeah, I think what's great about Christmas is the ritual,
Right.
is the
Right.
is the communal and cultural ritual, and everybody participated. All the lights went up, everybody had the lights. You had that one house in the neighborhood that like totally overdid it every year because the guy was an absolute maniac, and everybody had a great time because he's let's see what's he doing this year, and all the food and all the candy and the snowing and everything, like the snow and everything like that too. I think that's one thing that I do miss in Florida is, when it gets cold, I love how cold it gets, but I don't know when I'm ever going to see a serious snowfall again, but such is my destiny. So, it's
Right.
whatever.
As a new Florida man,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
got to drink that
It's
raw
whatever.
nog.
The raw nog, raw nog. Got to chew the nut, drink the old raw nog.
I can't drink the nog until the 25th, right? Because the nog is not fast friendly because it's dairy. So
Not fast friendly.
no noggin until the 25th. Noggin is a
And then
Protestant.
it's just nog apocalypse.
There's nog apocalypse. No, I told you my
That's
wife
gonna be what
hates
it
it,
is.
right? My wife hates eggnog, man.
Really?
She
More for
oh.
you, bro. More for you, bro.
They do
Whatever.
have it over at Starbucks, right? I think they do the eggnog lattes at Starbucks, right?
Eggnog latte. Mm,
I got one
fantastic.
once. It tasted like absolute ass, but that just, so it was disappointing. It wasn't noggy enough. It was too thin. It was like nog flavored, and I just didn't. It doesn't really, you know. For Brian Manager, the fast restrictions are basically no dairy, no meat, no oil, no olive oil, no wine, no alcohol. Right? That's like it's a simple way to look at it is a basically vegan. Um, the the way that the restrictions are there's no actual like written down restrictions. Um, they're basically kind of dumbed down monastic restrictions, and like the only official canonical restrictions are what the monastics follow, and as lay people we follow a more relaxed monastic thing, like
Yeah.
for obvious reasons. And it's not really about like focusing on ingredients or any of that kind of stuff. It's really about reflecting on how much we eat, how much part of the machine we are, and how and focusing on our appetites and that type of thing. But
Yeah. My wife and I are building up to the Easter fast. That's the one that we're gonna like try to follow very, very strictly. With my type 1 and fasting, it can be a little weird, so I'm taking that slow. But I that's one thing I wasn't expecting to enjoy. Or not, I mean, it's not about enjoying, but like it wasn't the kind of thing I was expecting to get much out of. And like the vegetarian and the vegan fasts, like it isn't like Wednesdays and Fridays right now. Those are it's no meat and stuff like that. I actually have enjoyed that. It does exactly what you say. It provides an opportunity for reflection. It provides an opportunity to pause and you know pause in the thing that we do every day.
right, I was having a conversation with this older lady. She's in her 60s, and she's really into like different health things and different fasting and stuff. And she was telling
Hmm.
me that she just does complete and total fast, like water fast for like 5 to 10 days at a time.
Whoa.
And it's not just for religious purposes. It's for this thing called, I don't know if you heard about it, cytophagy.
Nah, I got no idea.
So it's kind of a Joe Rogan-y kind of thing.
Oh,
I need to
unfortunately.
read on it, but it's actually very fascinating, right? And its
Mm.
the idea is that when you stop eating for a certain amount of time, um, your body starts eating away at older cells, right? So by doing that, it triggers new cell growth. So it actually like fixes a lot of like musculoskeletal problems and back pain and that kind of stuff through this kind of like it triggers like a renewal process basically, you know. And
Ooh.
it some of the theories are it explains how like you have a lot of those like 100-year-old like Japanese people walking around and stuff because they're just eating very restricted diets, or they like, and
Right.
it kind of forces them to keeps their body kind of young basically. And it's really interesting. I'm kind of like, maybe I should just strictly like, I'm thinking of doing like days where a friend of mine, real close friend of mine, and he's a young guy that goes to my church. He's talking about he's thinking of doing the Wednesdays and Friday fasts, like just doing those as water fasts, like more like monastic style water fast, and he wants to try that out, like, and I'm like, well, that's pretty hardcore, bro. But I mean, it's interesting. I'm curious to how you'd feel like that. I mean, I wouldn't do it if I were you, Fisto, because of your
Yeah, no,
diabetes, right? But
yeah,
I'm always curious. Like, I wonder what it would feel like. I wonder what it feel like to just not eat for like 3 days completely. Just
yeah.
have water and like black
It's
coffee.
it's so strange. There was one day. Oh, when I was sick. When I was sick a few weeks ago, I had like 3 days where I didn't particularly eat anything. But I had to keep on like a kind of a steady stream of not a steady stream, but like Gatorade just to kind of keep the blood sugar, stable. And what I found interesting is I could kind of do it. I want to go slow, right? And I mean, I was sick, so like ate a little here, ate a little here, right? Um, but I do want to slowly ramp up and try it legit. But it'll be extra science projecty, so that'll be fun. But
Yeah, like I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna do like try to aim for a 48 hour, 72 hour just strict no food, just water and coffee. Let me look this up real fast.
oh, that's reminded me of something. I don't know. All right. You know what? I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna go for it. What's one of the worst things that I've ever had to do as a diabetic too. So this is either gonna be like way too much TMI or it's gonna be funny as shit. But have you ever had to have a colonoscopy?
No, I'm not old enough.
Yeah, so I had to have one a while back. A lot of it had to do with anxiety, and I was working at the startup and whatever. But they were just checking something out, right? But you've got to drink this powder, this stuff to clean you out, right?
Mhm.
And
Like a
it was like,
it's like a contrast or not a contrast, like
yeah, kind of, yeah, whatever it is, whatever it is. But like the sheer amount of Gatorade I had to drink was just horrifying. And my endocrinologist like switched the insulin dosages, right? So I'm watching that. I'm watching my numbers. At like one point, my blood sugar's still like 250. I've got like a third of this bucket just chugging Gatorade out of a bucket, right?
ugh.
Dude, like fasting, like alternative diets, it's that experience that like pops into my mind when I talk about this stuff with people, and I just go, ugh, because you just, when you don't feel well, like after eating or like a lack of eating, diabetes just cranks that up, and you just get into this. It's really difficult to explain, but it is this funk, just it's
Ugh.
off. Like you ever like whenever I wake up with high blood sugar, I never slept well. I'm always pissed off. Like I wake up, I have rage dreams, and then I wake up 5 minutes before my alarm goes off. My blood sugar's at like 170 or whatever. I'm just like, son of a fucking bitch. It's just funny how that affects somebody and like how it affects your mood and like shifts you this way or shifts you that way.
Right.
Uh, last night I had a pretty bad low. One of the best parts about diabetes is that you get to pound a candy when you get really low. It's medicine. You get high and it's so weird, man. So basically what I'm
I just
saying is
think of what
I'm
I think of. I think of Michael Corleone in like Godfather 3 as he's like popping the candies because he's got the beatus.
yeah. But basically I'm expecting that once I get into like proper orthodox fasting, I'm expecting static visions. That's what I'm saying. I'm expecting the static
Yeah.
that it that the reason for my disease will be revealed, and I will be given the secret of how to kill the machine.
Yeah.
So that's no, I'm kidding. That's no.
Prelist. Right.
What's that?
It's called Prelist. It's like
Oh, there's a name for it. Oh no.
well, no. Prelist means like basically visions or miracles that aren't really visions or miracles. They're actually demonic things that people like
Right.
see.
That's what I was saying. Oh no. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. It's
I'm
like
kidding.
people
I'll be careful.
people that like really want to see miracles like convince themselves and are easily
Oh
deceived
yeah.
by demonic entities.
Yeah. No.
So I looked it up just now, and this thing is
Oh
called
no.
autophagy, right? And
Autophagy.
according to my AI that's built into my Google search that I can't get rid of anymore. It says water fasting can trigger autophagy, a cellular process that helps the body recycle and replace damaged components, promoting overall health and longevity. Autophagy begins within 12 to 24 hours of fasting and peaks around 48 to 72 hours and helps clean out damaged cells. Well, it's it, guys. I gotta do a 72-hour water fast. I'm actually curious to see what it feels like. Right. I want to see what
so you drink only water for how long?
about 72 hours, about 3 days.
Okay.
I mean, so only water, like nothing with any like nutritional, like zero, like so 0 calories, right? So it don't have to be like, I mean, I guess you can drink coffee, right? Like coffee's just water.
It's just water. Yeah, it's just there's no calories in there.
Yeah, maybe tea or something like that, you know?
Yeah, tea would
That'd be kind of cool. I'd probably like it, to be honest.
Black Ibis autophagy episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna autophage myself out of existence.
Yeah, man,
basically.
I'll do an autophage too. Why not? Or auto.
No, you're not allowed to. You can't autophage anything because you're gonna die.
I'm not gonna die.
You gotta eat, don't you? Your blood sugar.
I mean, yeah, just to manage the blood sugar, but it doesn't mean I could just not take insulin and see what the blood sugar does. You know, don't eat, just kind of see what happens.
See what? Come on, man. Interesting. Yeah, be
man.
careful.
I do what I want over here, okay? I take.
This is not this podcast, and anybody on this podcast is not giving anybody medical advice, and we're not responsible for your self-induced medical.
Nah, man, listen,
psychosis.
My A1C is a 5.7, so all y'all can get fucked. All right, I know exactly what I'm doing. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Or I'll die, and you'll just need to get a new podcast host, someone who's better looking and charming, more charming than me. So it'll work out. Of course,
yeah, I mean, no, I mean, like, it's interesting though, right? Like, how cool would that be though? Like, what if I transcend like space and time through just self-induced starvation? You know, like, how long can a human last with just? How long can you last like without eating? Like, I mean, those guys that were like in prison camps and concentration camps and stuff, they're like living off of like water soup basically for like months and years, right? Like those guys that were doing Trail of Tears.
What we got to do is get Jasper in on this and then do a poetry slam after we've done 3 days of, 5 years of
autophagy, the starvation haiku,
Yeah,
I'm just
right, exactly. Yeah.
One thing that like I was thinking about, like just all the stuff. I mean, that's a tough one. Can I pop a zinni in is that going to kick me out of autophagy?
Hey, only one way to find out. Only one way to find out, man.
I don't want to like starve, but like I get none of the benefits because I zinned up. There's probably calories in Zyn. I don't know. There's calories in it. I don't see.
Probably are.
There's flavor, but I think it's like xylitol, so it's like fake stuff. Well, when you think about it, right? Like in all seriousness, one of the things you do from the Orthodox fasting is it makes you think about like our appetites, right? Because most of the sins are appetites, right? We are living in a world of extreme appetites. Whether it's food, entertainment, news, hatred, pornography, everything. like just this huge like appetites that like, and you look at the pagan gods, the gods of the pagans. And what do they always want? What do pagan gods always want? What do they demand? It's always like eating,
blood.
Eating something, and sexual appetite, right? They're always trying to like rape something and eat something.
Food, sex, and murder.
Yeah, it's always those two, like food, sex, and blood, right?
Yeah.
So you think about this appetite obsessed kind of world that we live in, and almost everything is meant to fill or feed our appetites. And a lot of times most of us are just addicted to dopamine, right? We just need the next thing, the next tweet, the next Instagram reel, the next next episode, right? And sometimes it's just good to just say, fuck, dude, I'm done. I'm taking a time off from all this stuff, and you think about like food specifically, and you look at our immediate ancestors. And I'm not talking about like, look, man, as Americans, we eat a lot. right? It is anybody that lives in Europe or has been to Asia, like it is shocking. It is shocking how much food we eat and we get at restaurants. I know I was over in, I lived in Japan for almost 4 years, and I got used to Japanese portions, and my wife and I did, and we'd go to Japanese Denny's a lot and a lot of the different restaurants, and I liked it, right? And I when moved back to the US, I was shocked by how big the portions were. What it what would be considered a meal for two or three people is a one person meal. So for a long time until our bodies adjusted to American food, my wife and I would just order like one meal at a restaurant and just split it because it was like there's too much food. And you think about like our immediate ancestors in the 19th century, these guys in the Wild West, these guys would go out like cattle ranching and cattle herding, and they would live off of like some beef jerky, and some whiskey for like months at a time, right? Like, so, what what's going on, Uh,
Yeah.
like it's wild, right? So yeah, maybe I will try this water fast in the next month or so. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Myrtle in the chat said talk about cryptids in the spooky south. So do you have any cryptids in Florida?
Cryptids. What's a cryptid again?
Cryptid is like the Bigfoot or whatever.
Oh, now Florida man. We're all cryptids down here,
Cryptids.
man.
So we
Yeah,
we
we
actually
are
have
cryptids now.
a cryptid here in South Carolina, specifically here in the Low Country. And I think I've talked about it before. It's called
You have.
a boo
Yes.
hag. All
Yes, the
right.
boo hag.
It's called the boo hag. And all right, and the
Yeah.
boo hag is a
Boo
mythical
hag.
creature in the folklore of the Gullah Geechee people in Georgia and part of
Uh-oh,
South
here we go
Carolina.
again.
And it's part of an
Here we
American.
go.
So remember, earlier in the episode we talked about the Gullah
Yeah.
Geechee people, right?
Yeah.
It's the
Like
same.
yeah.
Yeah,
However you say it.
and it's a contribution of it's basically a hag, and it's a combination of Gullah and hoodoo and that kind of stuff, and it's
Yeah.
basically a witch, right? And the old enslaved people back in the day, they would sprinkle cayenne pepper and salt in the corners of their room, right, to protect themselves from the boo hags. They lived in the swamp, right? And
Mm-hmm.
also, what you see here, and you actually see it here all the time to this day, all over South Carolina, is the color haint blue. Have you guys ever heard of haint blue? I'm going to post it in
No.
the chat, right? It's called haint
Yeah.
blue.
Paint blue.
All right. Haint blue. All right. You can look it up, right? And haint blue is it for those guys that aren't near a computer and aren't looking it up,
Oh, this color. Yeah, okay.
it's like a pale blue kind of color.
Yeah.
And if you're in the South, and like in Charleston,
Yeah,
Savannah,
everything's bad.
anywhere in this area, a lot of there's the houses out here have yes, they do. Brian, I was gonna say, Brian beat me to it. Brian says, don't they paint houses that color? They do, but they don't specifically paint the houses, the whole house that color. They paint the ceilings of the porches that color. That is a color that gets painted in the ceilings of the porches, right? And the reason they
Mm-hmm.
do that is because haint blue tricks boo hags, right?
Oh,
or
snap.
or haints, and haint is like a haunt. It's
Game
just
was
like
rigged from the
it's like a
start.
slave like Gullah word for haunt, right? Like a ghost
Yeah.
spirit, right? And that blue color is supposed to basically trick the ghosts and demons and boo hags that come and suck your breath away, and it keeps them from coming into your house if you paint your house that
Right.
color, right?
Right. Yes.
So that's why you'll see that as the traditional color of a lot of houses in Charleston, Savannah, where I live, right? The other thing that comes, it is very connected with the boo hag and the haints of the swamp, is the bottle tree. Do you guys know what a bottle tree is?
No. What's that?
I'll look it up. It's called a bottle tree, right? And a bottle tree it's basically like a
Oh,
tree with like blue bottles on it.
yeah.
Have you ever seen those before?
I think so. Yeah. Oh, one of these. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. the blue bottle trees, and you can buy them like they're kind of kitschy decorations they sell like at freaking Ace Hardware and stuff, right? But you're supposed to make it yourself. The blue bottle tree it's a ghost trap, right?
Right.
Because the ghosts go inside the blue bottles because they're attracted to that color, and they get trapped in the bottle.
Yeah.
Right. So
Stupid
it's
cryptid.
basically it's to keep the ghosts out, to keep the haints and the boo hags and that kind of stuff. What the boo hags do is they come at night and they suck your soul out. They roll inside like your house and they start sucking your air out of your body, and they're kind of like a Sandman type, and they ride you. You're sleeping in bed and they're on top of you, and according to Wikipedia, an expression sometimes used in South Carolina is "Don't let the hag ride you." Uh, Growing up and going out bar hopping, I was always told, "Don't ride the hag," but that's just my life, right? But in South Carolina, the hag rides you if you don't have the haint blue on your porch. So that's like
Yeah.
the only like real spirit we have over in South Carolina. I mean, look, everything here is haunted, right? Like,
Hmm.
I don't, for people that have never been to the South or specifically to the Low Country, you can just walk through like the marsh out here, and every other like 30 feet you're going to trip over like an old gravestone that's like 300 years old, right? There's like
Yeah.
tiny like little like cemeteries everywhere, right? And if you drive 14 miles from here, you can go to the huge cemeteries in Savannah, and I'm sure you guys have all seen the cover to that book and that movie, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. It's like the picture of the angel holding like the kind of like the two like tray, like it's like two little plates or something. It's a
Hmm.
little girl
I
holding
can't
two
think of it.
plates. And if you like actually go back like 3 episodes, one of the cover art is an angel, but it's actually a mausoleum statue from the cemetery out here in Savannah. And there's tons of cemeteries. And you can go to Savannah and walk around the cemeteries, and you can spend all, if you're a history guy, you can spend all day in the cemetery because there's all these Civil War guys buried there. There's all these Revolutionary War people buried there, and there's just crazy 19th century tombs that people built, and it's just fascinating. It's probably the second. There's like I feel like there's like three big like cool cemeteries in the country, not in counting like the military cemetery in DC. That one is one of them, but you've got the ones in Louisiana, like in New Orleans. You've got like what's that one called? What is the big one in Louisiana called that everybody talks about?
The big cemetery.
Yeah, in Louisiana, that everybody is always a big.
I can't think of it. I decided to look up Everglade cryptids real quick, and while we try to figure that out, I actually hadn't heard about this. The skunk ape.
Oh, what the hell is that?
Yeah, apparently it is. It kind of looks like a Sasquatch creature, like a Sasquatchy looking creature, a big giant ape. But apparently it smells like super, 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 super bad. So
Ew.
it's smelly Sasquatch is what it is.
And then
So
that's a Florida cryptid.
yeah, apparently that's the Everglades skunk ape, which would be the one down near me. I'm closer to the Everglades than not. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's probably that. Fun. I'll have to ask the kids at school. I got a
You
few
wouldn't think it's
long
like
time
some like
long
half
time
man,
residents.
half alligator, like some kind of were alligator or something like that.
Yeah.
A were catfish or something like that.
Oh, check this out. Everglades skunk ape field research guide.
Hmm.
Here we go. Here we go, boys. All right, hold on. I'm gonna drop this puppy in chat. Oh, come on. Let me link it. Atlas Obscura. Here we go. All right. Oh, this is gonna be a cursed link, but I don't care. Here we go. And paste and enter. All right, copy paste. Go take a look. The Everglades Skunk Ape Research Field Guide. I actually, guys, when you look at that picture, I just doxed myself, so you guys can see what I actually look like.
That's a link that a boomer would post.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what? Screw you, man. Hold on. Let me see if I can find something better. Skunk ape images. Oh, here we go. This is some quality stuff.
Oh God.
Let me see.
It just looks like a swamp Bigfoot.
That's what I was saying. Yes, swamp Sasquatch or swamp Bigfoot. That's all it is.
That's not even cool.
Yeah,
maybe like because it's Florida, the most normal thing about Florida is the skunk ape, and the skunk ape's like scared of like
here.
Florida.
This is a great picture. I don't know who these guys are, but I'm gonna go ahead and dox myself again. You guys can decide which one of these guys is me. So it's a little more. It's a little less cursed. And I don't know what the one guy's holding. But maybe it's skunk ape droppings or something.
This is gonna be stupid.
Oh, that David Shealy. Yeah, this is the expert. Down here.
This is like a gorilla.
Yeah, it's just a giant smelly gorilla. But it's in the Everglades, so it's fine.
Yeah.
That's funny. Everglades City. That's funny.
You know, we do have a Monkey Island here in South Carolina, like right off the coast. Yeah,
wait,
it's
hold
actually
on. Actual quote. Hold on, actual quote. The skunk ape has 4 toes, and a lot of Bigfoot researchers don't like that. What? Okay.
What? It makes no sense.
Who cares? It's Florida, man. Florida, man.
So okay, Google Monkey Island, South Carolina. All right.
Monkey. Oh, I've heard of this. Monkey Island, yes.
Yeah, that's actually in Beaufort County, South Carolina. And that's where I live. I live in Beaufort County, South Carolina. Right?
Beaufort County.
And it is a island known for its population of rhesus monkeys, right?
Yes. Wait, wasn't there a thing about these recently where they were like nuclear?
Yeah, they escaped. Right. Yeah. So they're basically like testing monkeys that like they test like I don't know syphilis on or something like that. They like give them syphilis or something.
They test COVID on them.
And you're not allowed to go. You know you're not allowed to go to this fucking place, right? But I don't know, they're like raised like they're like lab monkeys and they're diseased or something. But there's like 3,000 of them, and like you can like canoe around it and stuff, and you can see the monkeys in the trees and stuff. I've seen pictures of like people like taking their boats near this place and like taking pictures of like monkeys like hanging in the trees and on this little island, right? But they're like I don't know, some kind of diseased laboratory monkey, and that's kind of terrifying to be honest, right?
Yeah.
And like some of them escaped recently, and they're like the cops are like, "Oh, if you see a monkey, don't go near it because it's probably got super syphilis or something," you know?
Yeah.
And
they ran for Congress. That's what's going to happen. They ran.
Yeah, I don't know whatever happened to it. Oh, but on a cemetery thing that we were talking about.
Oh yes, the cemetery. Okay.
So the big cemetery that's probably the most famous cemetery in the United States is St. Louis Cemetery. Right, St. Louis #1 in New Orleans, right, and that's the one that has all the above ground crypts. You know, it's the one in like Interview with a Vampire. It's St. Louis Cemetery #1. It's also the one in if you played Red Dead Redemption, right? Too, like it's like in the when you go into like New Orleans, basically. Dang. That's right, and it's like the famous one.
Williams for days.
Yeah, and then the big famous one we have here in Savannah is the Bonaventura. Right, cemetery, and that's a really really cool one too. It's huge, it's beautiful, man. Like you've got a just the big trees with the hanging like
there you go.
With the hanging like Spanish moss everywhere, and it's just a beautiful. You go there in the spring and all the flowers are blooming, and you could just stroll all day through all the graves, and it's kind of a cool thing to do. I think and it kind of like makes you think about death and that kind of stuff. I've got some good pictures of last time I went there, and my daughter. There's a lot of really cool statues of angels and all types of like things. Or like there's like pictures of like some like rich people like back in the 19th century, their daughter would die young, and they did a full statue of her. And there's just gorgeous statue. Like let me find
Yeah.
this really cool
I'm looking
picture.
up the old cemetery back where I grew up. Lakeview Cemetery is the famous one up in Cleveland. Garfield is buried there, the ex-president, and they've got some famous structures and some impressive monuments. I think that might have also been a scene where they shot one of the Marvel movies, if I recall. Although I might be thinking of a different one. But yeah, Lakeview Cemetery is the big famous one that we had back home.
Yeah, there's something like I like about cemeteries because I'm just a, you know,
Well, yeah,
I'm just a,
you're Transylvania. You were born and raised in the cemetery, man. So I
yeah,
mean, it's fine.
I've got this
I
like
get
goth kind of vibe to me that I
it.
can't kick, like
Yeah, it's fine. No one's
you
perfect.
know, it's just how I roll,
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah, man.
I hate Reddit.
What? What's wrong with it? What?
Because like
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
trying to save this
Reddit's
picture
trash.
file and it's stupid. It's like won't let me. But yeah, and then I mean, that's kind of like all the cryptids we have. Like we don't have any cool skinwalker stuff. Like I like the skinwalker is like one of my favorite like freaking like it's one of my favorites like things, right? Because it's such a cool like thing. And like I feel like there's a lot of weirder stuff out west or maybe New England. New England has to have a bunch of cool stuff. And then of
Yeah.
course, like, Brian and stuff, I think he's a West Coaster from like Washington area. You've got the Black Lodge out there and you got all that stuff. So you get a bunch of cool, stuff over there, like I got to work. Check this out. All right. That's from the Bonaventura Cemetery. And that's the daughter. I think she died of like typhus and they sculpted her. It's just such a cool picture.
Brilliant.
Like,
Brilliant.
statue. It's just this like it's so sad, you go and you look at her name and like she like only lived to be like 17 or 20 something. And there's all these like stories about her and people like always leave like weird, like voodoo shit all over all these, these statues. It's like really weird. Like look at that gate in the background, you've got like a saint kind of like guarding this gate to like
Oh, heck
eternity.
yeah. There you go.
It's just pretty cool, and it's like in a marsh. Yeah, and that's like about 15-minute drive from where I live.
Man.
I just assume that everything is haunted. So like, I don't think we
Yeah,
have.
that lady's going to talk to you about being there after dark.
Yeah, if you're
And
hanging
that's
out
gonna be
in
a bad
midnight,
conversation. Yeah, no,
this
you're
girl's hanging out. She's dancing
yeah,
and making a flower leaf at midnight.
yeah, no, this lady's making you a permanent fixture in the cemetery.
Right? Like
You are
Corinne.
hanging out with her until the end times.
Right. And what's interesting is like we don't like I don't feel like we don't have a lot of cryptids in that kind of way. I'm looking it up.
What's this?
We don't
Man?
have like the cryptids in like in the usual way, but we have a lot of ghost stories here, right? So the picture I posted, her name is Corinne Elliott Lawton, right?
Yeah.
And she was born September 21st, 1846, and died January 24th, 1877. So she was an adult. And her name was Corinne Elliott, and she was buried in Bonaventure Cemetery in Savannah, Georgia. She was born into privilege, coming from a very wealthy and proud family of Brigadier General Alexander Robert Lawton, Confederate States of America, Civil War. There's different.
Check out the cross. It's got the Constantine. Isn't that the Constantine symbol on there?
Yeah, she does actually. There is a chiro on it. There's actually a lot of chiros on a lot of the stuff over there, and there's a lot of ghost stories about her, and there's a lot of like kind of like there's a story of like unrequited love and marriage and all this stuff, and so she ended up dying of, I believe, typhus during a typhus epidemic in Savannah in the 19th
Like,
century. And her father commissioned a sculptor named Benedetto Civiletti from Palermo, Sicily, to create her statue. I mean, how cool is that, right? Like,
Yeah.
how cool is that? That like, I wish people still did that. Like rich people are. I mean, like, that'd be great if I could do that, but I'm not rich, right? Like,
Yeah.
like,
That
wouldn't it be
podcast
cool?
money, we're gonna immortalize you into marble.
Yeah, like how cool. Like, God, if I, uh, like how cool is that they like spent all that money to just like immortalize their daughter, forever, for all eternity. Well,
Yeah.
as long as the stone lasts, right? As long as the cemetery's there.
Long time. It'll be a
And
long time.
you got this like, just this beautiful statue, and they're all long dead, man. They're over what, nearly 200 years now, right? And it's just really freaking wild to me,
150, but yeah.
Yeah,
That is
that's
wild. That's very cool.
right. And
We'll have to
it's
do
like,
we'll have to do a cemetery episode where we broadcast live from Lawton's. Just kidding. Let's not do that because we'll end up cursed.
right. But Publius Americus in the chat says, that would require the rich to believe in hereafter, and that's true, and
Yes.
that's the truth,
That's why we don't have nice things anymore.
We don't have nice things anymore, and it goes back to our episode earlier this year where we talked about, Il Magnifico, right? The Medici, right? Of how rich people used to leave lasting things, and they used to leave things that were beautiful or intelligent or meaningful for culture, for society, for their own families. But now they don't do any of that. They're just a bunch of just rootless degenerates that don't really do anything for anybody, include even themselves. Right. And it just says a lot about our culture. Now I will add that another really cool cemetery is actually on the West Coast, and that is the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, right? And that is in Hollywood, California, and it's the cemetery where all like the golden age, silver age movie stars are buried. That's where like Lucille Ball is buried, and all those people are buried. And to connect it to the podcast, it is the cemetery that what's his name goes to and sleeps in because he's all high and drunk in beneath the Silver Lake.
Yeah.
Right. And that's called Hollywood Forever. And that's a really cool cemetery in Los Angeles. It's one of the only like, kind of like there's a few cool spots in Los Angeles that have a little bit of history. But anyways.
Oh, hold on real quick. America Still Enjoy. We did a whole episode on that film, Under the Silver Lake. Yes. That was a great episode, by the way. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you guys haven't listened to any of our movie episodes, we've done a few, and I'm gonna do a lot more next year. We did Under the Silver Lake. There's been 3 movie episodes we've done. Okay, we've done Under the Silver Lake. We did The Great Beauty, and we did Lost in Translation. Lost in Translation was my first movie episode. And it was actually with a special guest, very important guest. And it was actually my wife, because that's her favorite movie. So
that's right. Yeah.
We did a spur of the moment episode where we did it like at midnight. I think we watched a movie, like, we've seen it a million times. It's one of my favorite movies, but we watched it like at 10:30 after we put our daughter to bed. And then we watched the whole movie and then drank a bunch of wine and like talked about it for like 3 hours. And it was a funny episode. I don't think I dialed the audio in very well on that one because it was difficult to do 2 people around the same mic, and I had to set my mic to like surround sound, kind of pick up the sound.
Yeah.
But Lost in Translation, great movie, great soundtrack, and it's awesome.
Ooh, I just got an idea. It'd be fun. Let's try to do Big Trouble in Little China with Librarian.
Oh yeah, he loves that movie.
Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah.
I don't
know why that occurred to me.
Yeah, let's do that. He wrote one of the best posts on that movie. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the best. It's one of the best posts on Substack. Period.
Yeah, hands down. Publius Lost in Translation does have that Jesus and Mary Chain song at the very end. It's the going away. It's the end of the movie when they but he whispers something in her ear, and then she walks away, and then that's when the Jesus and Mary chain song comes on. Soundtrack is really good to that movie, and like if you've never seen it, like it's funny because like people in real life, I'm hanging out with people and they're like, man, you see a lot of movies. You're like a movie guy. I guess I'm like a movie guy. I do know a lot of movies. I've seen a lot of movies, and I have a lot of opinions on movies. I got very peculiar taste though. So some people like I when I recommend a movie, it's a movie I really like, and but they're weird. You know what I mean, right? Like my taste in movies is like my taste in books. It just sometimes it can be a little bit out there. Uh, I really love like Under the Silver Lake, and some people like I recommend it to some people and they watch it and they're like, oh, I don't get it, and I'm like, well, it's because you're dumb. But it's, I'm just joking. It's because it's a weird movie. Okay,
No,
it's
it's
like
accurate. No, it's accurate.
yeah, it's a good movie. It's great. It's hilarious. It has some of the best like one lines in it, and it's just full of craziness. That movie is like you're not even sure what it's about. The movie's kind of like this podcast where you're like, what is this movie about? What is this podcast about? What are they going on about? I feel like that rant he has in his bathtub while he's skunked and he's talking to his little girlfriend who's dressed in her lederhosen outfit. And I feel like that's just me constantly. I'm just like going like, well, you gotta connect.
Well, hold on. So that makes me the chick in the lederhosen, then, right? Is that how
No,
that
that's
works?
Lisa. That's Lisa. No, I'm just
Oh,
joking.
okay. All right.
That's their listener. They're like
Oh,
it
okay.
smells really bad in here. We're gonna leave now.
No, you know what? No, I'm the skunk. I'm the skunk. That's what I am.
No, you're the comic book guy, the guy that's drawing
Oh,
the owl, the owl.
oh no. All right, I accept it. I
Yeah.
accept my fate. I accept
Or
my fate.
maybe you're the Coyote Bum King.
The coyote. Ooh.
All right.
You know what? Yeah, yeah. That's kind of the Gandalf of the picture, so I'll take
Yeah,
it.
it
I'll
just
take it.
just show
Kind
up.
of
You
the
just show
wandering
up.
monk.
You
Shows up the right moment and changes
give
everything.
instructions.
Everything
Yeah.
can change. Yeah, there
Dude,
you go.
it's such a good movie, and I feel like like a lot of people haven't seen it, and they're missing out on like a
They
fantastic
really are.
movie. So if you
I've been
really
slowly.
enjoy that movie, if you enjoy movies, I highly recommend you watch not Lost. I highly recommend you watch Lost in Translation. Probably the best movie written and directed by a woman, in my opinion.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
by
Agreed.
Sofia Coppola. And then if you enjoy really weird esoteric movies that came out
Yes.
recently and are very like topical to today's conversations,
Yeah.
I recommend Under the Silver Lake, a movie that
Yes.
nobody has seen besides people I've made to watch. And yeah, and he's like, why do you have dog biscuits in your pocket, you psycho? He's like, well, because I had a dog once. And that's absolutely normal.
It's great.
Yeah.
I made the comment in chat, but I really believe it's a liberating film.
Right.
Once you see the trick, you can't unsee it, and then it just goes, oh, everybody's a pagan retard. Perfect. And then just all of a sudden everything snaps and makes sense.
Right.
Rock and roll is the gods, right? It's all Hollywood, it's all New York, it's all TV, it's all movies, it's all film. It's just, oh, perfect.
Perfect.
Done. Understand all the things.
The Kid Detective is very similar to Silver Lake. It's another really weird movie.
Man.
I also, of course, if you
Wild. It'd be
if
wild. Sorry, I just had this idea. Like the movie's totally not appropriate. I wouldn't be able to get away with it. But I'd love to do like a film club where we watch Under the Silver Lake and then use understanding media as like like a combination class or like some kind of art and media kind of thing, and use that as like the final exam or something.
yeah,
It's
you
sorry,
just make him watch
the random
what's
ass
it?
ideas I have.
Make him watch the Kubrick movie. What's it called? Eyes Wide Shut,
Eyes wide shut. Yeah.
and be like, listen, the whole point of this movie is that even though he's a doctor, he's still at the bottom rungs of society, and everything's run by pedophiles. And Kubrick
Yep.
died as it got premiered. No, it's just
Funny how that works.
funny how that works, right?
Anyway, sure, it's nothing.
The other thing that I recommend to all listeners of the show to watch is True Detective season 1. If you haven't seen True Detective season 1, highly
Yes. Oh,
recommended.
no.
It's one of the best
Don't get me
television
started on True
shows
Detective.
of all time. It's kind of a required watching for everybody. If you haven't watched that, you're wrong. You're missing out. It's one of the greatest shows ever made. And anyways, we've gone about 20 minutes over schedule like usual, and we had a great time. And we had a great, you know what? First of all, we had a great season. This was a wonderful season, 40 episodes, 150 hours or so.
150 hours of beautiful shit posting tainment.
Yeah, it was wonderful. We're going to take a break for Thanksgiving. We're going to celebrate. We're going to eat turkey. We're going to celebrate. And we'll be back mid-December. We're going to probably come back strong with some guests. We're probably going to do that, you know, we're going to watch some movies. We're going to read some books. We're going to have some great guests. And I have like, man, my inbox is filled with people like, can I come on your show? Can I come on your show? And I'm like, yeah, I just don't have the energy to catch up on reading right now, and I would not do you justice.
It's very exclusive how we do it, where we just ignore people.
Yeah, it's you know, if you send me a message saying you want to come on the show or you recommended somebody, like I asked somebody, I absolutely want to, and I want to do it. I just need to I need to recover. I need to recharge my batteries, and then because I will never. Like the one thing I'm never going to do here, okay, is I'm never going to invite somebody, especially like an author or somebody that has like you know work beneath their belt, and I'm not going to read their stuff or because I don't have time to do it, and then I just I'm just an asshole. That's like an asshole move.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why we haven't had a lot of guests lately, is because I haven't had the energy to fully dedicate to having a guest on where I could do them justice. I can have Lisa on because I've read all her books, and you know, and I can have certain people on, right? And I talk to them all the time. But if it's somebody that I've not really interacted with or I'm not particularly friends with, I just really need to read their books, right? So I can be like, hey, like, you know, when I had we had Konstantin von Hofmeister on to talk about his great book, you know, we read the book, you know, we had Dr. Zachary Parker. We read the book in the few days before. So that takes a lot of effort because there's only so many hours in the day for me to be able to read something fast. And I'm a very fast reader. I can read 2 or 3 books a week. I've been drained with social obligations, and I just don't want to do a half-assed job of somebody, you know, like
no half-assed.
No, there's no half,
but not half-assed.
I might do half-ass episodes when it's just us and we're just freestyling, but I'm never going to do a half-ass episode with a guest. All right. So
never.
It's not going to happen, right? So that's my promise. So next year
we haven't had guests on because we respect you too much.
Yeah, next year we're going to come back. We're not going to be gone very long. We say like we're gone for like ever, but we're actually going to be gone for like 3 weeks, right? I think
in a decade after our travels in the Orient.
Yeah, let me look at the schedule. Let me look at my calendar real fast. I got November, December. Realistically, we'll probably be back December 10th or December 17th, right?
Perfect.
Probably December 17th, like the third week of December, the week before Christmas vacation and stuff. We'll talk about Christmas. We'll talk about nativity. We'll talk about all that stuff. We'll catch up. So until then, guys, I love you very much. Please like, share, and subscribe. I know all of you guys already subscribed. You guys are awesome. But please like, share, and subscribe. Send me show ideas. Send me all kinds of stuff. Keep up on Substack. Without doing the podcast, I might actually be able to write some stuff on Substack. I might use this podcast time to write some. I have like 30 essays started. The problem is I started an essay, and by the time like I'm ready to like post it, it's like no longer pertinent and irritates me, or like the topic irritates me. So I'm just like, I don't want to talk about this, Right. Like last time I wrote a lot was during the pagan drama. And I wrote a bunch because my wife was out of town. So it was just me by myself, just like creeping, like I'm just gooning by myself in the house, and then like, I'm like, okay, I can sit here and argue with pagans until 4 a.m, but I'm not doing that when my family's in town. All right, guys. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Make sure you spend time with your family and prepare yourself for Christmas and all that fun stuff. I love you guys very much, and we will see you in December.